So let's talk about how you develop the argument for your dissertation. This is the justification, the why for why your study is necessary or needed. And if you have watched my chain of reasoning video, you'll understand that there is a chain of logic that needs to run through your dissertation. And it starts with this argument that's built off of the existing research. According to Crothwell and Smith, 2005, the end goal of research that produces or supports a generalization is the development of a carefully constructed chain of reasoning. Starts with the existing research, you uncover your problem space, and then from there you build your questions, your procedures, the design, and your analysis. All of that falls into place. This should follow a logical deductive sequence, and it will start at the beginning of your study all the way through to the presentation of your findings. So your argument comes from your review of the literature, what you're hearing from existing or current researchers and what they're suggesting for future research, and you're building your argument off of that. Okay? So if you go out and look up information about logical arguments, you'll see different things, but I wanted to just talk through one description that talks about the parts of a logical argument. So the first part is your proposition. This is a statement that you're trying to prove. That's what you're standing on. It's the whole goal of your dissertation. The premise is the evidence that you're using, the rationale for your proposition. So the rationale for why you want to prove something specific. The inference, so based on the premise and the evidence, you might discover new propositions or new statements that potentially could be recommendations for future research. And then after you've gone through the whole process of stating your proposition, providing your evidence, you may come to another conclusion that will, again, suggest future research. So how does this tie to the argument in your dissertation? You probably have already figured this out, but the proposition is your problem statement. It is not known if and to what extent, it is not known how people perceive. Those kind of statements in your study, that's your problem statement, what you are trying to prove or provide evidence for. The premise is the area where you talk about the problem space, and this is where you define your argument. You provide evidence for why there is a problem that needs to be addressed. Okay, so I'm going to give you some general examples of logical arguments, and you can kind of see the proposition and how, let me pull it over here, bear with me just a minute. You can see how there's a proposition and there's some evidence. So Toronto's in Canada, Alice lives in Toronto, therefore here's the conclusion, Alice lives in Canada. Okay, and that's based on the pieces of evidence. I want to show you a little bit longer one. My apologies to cat lovers. Cats consume resources such as food. This is a premise, and there's probably some data, some reference that you would need to support this. Cats do not contribute to economic production. It's a waste to spend resources without creating economic value. Therefore, cats are a waste, a waste of resources. Okay, so again, no offense to cats, but you can see how they have several different lines of argument, evidence that they're providing, and they combine thoughts between all three of those premises to come to a conclusion. So let's apply that then to the dissertation, the problem statement and the problem space. So I'm going to talk through an example of what I did in my dissertation because it's the information that I'm close to kind of help you connect the dots here. So the problem statement for my study is, it is not known if and to what extent there's a difference in the overall work engagement of instructional designers working predominantly at home or predominantly in the office, and whether that relationship is moderated by psychological capital. So you can see a couple of different things in here. Here's my argument, the premise, the evidence that I provided. Okay, if you look in my dissertation, you will see these sentences. These are topic sentences for paragraphs in my problem space, and then you'll see the evidence that I provided to support these. So the dynamics of work are changing in today's world. I did my study in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, And we all know that everybody started working virtually. The current research pertaining to virtual workers doesn't provide consistent evidence about their engagement. We know that personal resources have a positive relationship with work engagement. Personal resources include psychological capital, which I've listed down here in number 5. And then in number 4, I provide the argument for why I should study instructional designers as a target population because of the demands that were placed on them. Okay, so let me take that one step further. If you've seen any of my defenses, which not everybody has, but when I present my problem space, I use this table to talk about what is known in the literature and then what is not known. And you'll see that I've provided citations for both sides of the argument. But I want to connect the argument to how I talk about the problem space. Okay? So you can see the dynamics of work are changing. Here's what's known. We know that a number of people are moving to the virtual workspace are increasing. What we don't know is how engagement works, what drives engagement in virtual teams. Okay. The second part is there's not consistent evidence about engagement in virtual workers. So even though we know that employee engagement leads to improved performance, according to Golden and Gajendran, we don't know how much the amount of time spent working virtually affects employee engagement. So this is the argument for looking at the difference between those working virtually and those working in the office. 3 and 5 go together because it talks about the personal resources and the relationship of psychological capital. So this argument here supports the piece in my problem statement about the moderating effect of psychological capital on work engagement. And then the very last piece I mentioned earlier is this is my argument for studying instructional designers as a target population. Okay, so I hope this is helpful for you in understanding and connecting the argument to your chain of reasoning throughout your entire dissertation, but how the process of developing a logical argument connects to the problem space. So I hope this is helpful and good luck writing. I will see you in the next video.